everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack. Today we are reviewing a LEGO idea set. This is the Yellow Submarine. This set is recommended for ages 10 and up. It is set number 21306 and it has 553 pieces. There are 4 minifigs, or 5 I guess if you count the Nowhere Man, and 1 incredibly sleek, nearly studless build for the cartoonified version of the Yellow Submarine. Maybe that's the only version of the Yellow Submarine. I don't know. All right, let's open it up and see what's inside the box. Okay, so the box has 5 bags. I'm really glad that they're numbered. Sometimes idea sets are not numbered and the building takes quite a long time. Here is the manual. Of course, in the beginning, there's kind of a bit of information about the Yellow Submarine, the Beatles band, and probably, I'm going to assume, the builder himself, the guy who did the creation. Yes, that would be in the back of the manual. Anyways, there's not that much to build. I have a feeling it's not going to take that long, so let's get started right now. And I'm not throwing the box this time. It's kind of a nice box, and I think I'm gonna hold on to it. So let me just set it down. All right. Alright, so here is the set all together, and I gotta say, in this grandeur of the Yellow Submarine, the designers from LEGO really did a good job sort of translating and changing the original ideas build up just a little bit, but I think this is the first time I'm gonna say that just about every single change that LEGO made looks like an actual improvement. Previous idea designs were changed in the past to sort of adhere to the structural stability guidelines of LEGO, and somewhat sacrifice the detailing of really nice looking builds, but here, this is a 100% solid Yellow Submarine build, and all of the aesthetic changes that I can see all look like really nice improvements. Now, for those that don't know, this is not a submarine that exists in reality, but it's based on the design from the Yellow Submarine animated movie, and the Beatles used this image on their Yellow Submarine album as well. Now, speaking of the Beatles, let's just get into the minifigs first, because these guys look really awesome. So these are the 4 band members in order from left to right, and also the order in which you get them out of the bags. We've got John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Before I talk about these guys individually, I gotta say I'm really happy with the detailing for their faces. It would have been pretty freaky if they decided to choose the actual artwork style from these guys in the Yellow Submarine movie, especially Ringo Starr. Alright, anyways, let's start off with John Lennon though. So the nicest part of John Lennon's minifigure, I think, is that printing on the side of the legs. Some nice yellow and red stripes that go all the way down. He's got mismatched pant legs for pink and purple. He comes with the telescope accessory and 2 different expressions. One that shows his kind of funny gap teeth in the front. Pretty good detailing all around, and I'd say he's probably one of the more recognizable of the minifigs. Now let's move on to Paul. Paul is in purple with tan legs. Actually, one of them is slightly darker tan, and his arms are a little bit lighter purple. He comes holding a card that says love, and the detailing shows a gigantic tie in the front. He, like all of the Beatles, have 2 expressions on their faces. One, he's got his mouth open, and the other one is closed. Now when we move on to George Harrison, I think the most unique part about him is we now get that new-ish hairpiece in black for the first time with this guy. And also the accessory that he comes with is the engine of the sub. He's got some of the more simple printed detailing on the front and back of him, and probably the easiest to reincorporate with another minifig if you wanted. And there his 2 expressions show a big grin and a smaller kind of smirk. So let's move on to the last guy, and he is Ringo Starr, probably the most colorful, at least certainly the most colorful torso piece out of the guys. He's got a lot of stripes going on, and that round 2x2 tile is supposed to be half a hole. If you haven't noticed, the accessories that all these guys carry in their hands are what they supposedly brought back from the party. And these are sort of great little Easter eggs to have if you know a lot about the Yellow Submarine movie. But half a hole is kinda strange, and if you're wondering, he gave the second half to Jeremy. This is the Nowhere Man from the Yellow Submarine movie. Now his accessory is an apple, but it's really nice that they kind of made his body out of one of those scurrier minifigs that came from the Nexo Knight series. They just colored his body brown, gave him a nice print on the face, and it actually works really well when you look at the shape of this character from the movie. Now you might have noticed that the Beatles have a pretty nice little minifig stand for displaying them on the front. That is a print for the Yellow Submarine on the front, by the way, and everything in this set is printed on. Jeremy also has a display spot, but this goes onto the actual stand for the Yellow Submarine itself. It's a fun little interesting build for a stand. It definitely looks like it's made of clouds or something. But let me now get into the submarine, and now we can take a much closer look at some of the nicer building details. Now when you look at the sub when it's right next to the picture of it from the cartoon, just about all the dimensions match up just right, as well as the sort of subtle color yellow detailing. Lego switched off between the bright yellow Lego and the sort of flame yellow orange. I think that's the official name of the slightly more orangey color that you see on the sub. But what that does is it breaks up the color scheme a lot better and just makes the build feel a little bit more dynamic. When we take a look at the rounded off nose in the front, we've got the most studs that you're gonna see on this build, those 4 on the bottom. Pretty much this whole build is studless. The sides have those nice red portholes. Those are supposed to be porthole pieces, as well as that great looking print on the white there. And then when we move to the back, we've got a pretty simple build for the tail. It's got a bit of a rudder, undersides of studs showing on one side and smooth tile on the other side. But I think some of the nicest detailing in this whole sub on the outside is this build that we have on the top. The red hand railing is made of some sausage pieces, which is great. And the 4 different colored and different sized periscopes not only are molded with new colors for those curved pieces on the top, but it just looks really accurate and it kind of brings out a more 3-dimensional look for the sub. I mean, I know it's 3-dimensional, but anyways, we can take the whole top of the sub right off. It's a very snug fit, and on the inside we have some great looking details. These are all prints, by the way. We've got some sort of mechanical inner workings, a lot of different brightly colored knobs and buttons, switches on pretty much all sides, and we've got that sort of odd looking television screen in the back. And then on the other side, we've got a clock, and calendar reads 1968. At least I think that's a calendar. Anyways, yeah, lots of great stuff going on the inside, all custom prints. And if you'd like, you can fit all 4 Beatles into the submarine. It's a very snug fit, as you might imagine, and it's nice that you can sort of do it if you like, though I do think the minifigs look a lot better when they're on their display stands. One more thing to take note of is that roof piece, or the top of the sub, does take some very precise sort of motions to get it back on. It just fits onto the top so tightly. And now that we got this thing put back together, here is the set one more time. I'd say there are a lot of really nice things going for it. It is by far pretty much just a display set, even though it is incredibly well built in terms of structural stability and just the nice aesthetic look of the smooth and rounded off shape for the sub. I guess the last thing I want to say about this build is that the designers really spent their time making this really feel sort of like a Beatles set. Even when you're building the sub itself, they hid very vibrant and bright colored pieces on the interior, things that you're never gonna see unless you build this set on your own. And it just seems like the people that were making this set got into a very sort of fun kind of mind frame, and it transfers over to the things that you can see and the things that you can't. Alright, so that is it for this episode, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. I have left a link in the video description below if you want to buy this set, and if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. And now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna put this into our background, move the AT-AT out, and the submarine in. Alright, so that is it for this episode. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.
Okay, these legs are crazy weak, and it's really hard to hold up the weight of this with one hand, so I think I'm going to try attaching the side panels after I put it on the legs.